Whether you're currently running Facebook ads or you've tried them and have given up, this episode is for you. Facebook advertising creative should be powerful and an attention grabber, but if it blends into the feed, it is quietly costing you clicks, traffic, and draining your marketing budget. Most small businesses throw together ads and they're using random images, a few lines of text, and hope their marketing result will just work out in the end. But here's the problem. Without the right strategy, your ads disappear in a sea of scrolling thumbs, leaving your competitors to take the spotlight. In this episode, we'll reveal 7 simple ways to create professional scroll-stopping ad creative that Matt Hansen here has used to help small business clients dramatically improve their results. If you're not applying these tactics, you could be paying for ads that never get noticed, let alone clicked. What are we going to learn in this episode?
You're going to hear all of the struggles that the clients that I deal with go through on a daily basis. Facebook advertising is one of the number one things that we work on. And it's simply because a lot of people jump into Facebook. It's the first kind of way that they dive into social advertising. And today I just wanted to kind of discuss that. I was working with a groomer a while back, a pet groomer, and many of the ads that they were putting out there were pictures of their stylists and employees and all of this. And I was asking them, how are the ads doing? And they said, well, they're okay. They're not doing fabulous. And I said, well, who's your market here? And they said, well, our market is people that have dogs that want grooming, and they love their animals and all this other stuff. So I started talking to them about the imagery. I said, you're showing your employees, which is great for you, but what's in it for the consumer? They don't care about your employees. They probably don't know them on a first name basis. They probably don't know anything really about them, but they know about dogs. They know about the breed that they have. They know that they love their pets. That's why they take care of them in such great detail. So I said, why don't we switch that up? Why don't we start looking at the visuals? And that's kind of the first thing that we want to talk about today is the visuals that you put out there in your ad. They need to be striking. They need to stop people. They need to, your employees are not going to stop somebody as they're scrolling through. So when we started to look at the groomer, I said, well, why don't we put some interesting dogs, some cute dogs, something along those lines. So what we did is we started looking for different imagery, and we found, I've got it's a Yorkshire Terrier Shih Tzu mix. So I found it was a picture of this Yorkshire Terrier, and it was just this face of just hair and all this other stuff, and somebody was cutting it. And I said, let's use that picture. And then we found another one, and it was this almost like this really small dog, like a Chihuahua. It wasn't, I don't know what it was exactly, but it was getting a bath, right? And it had all of this soap in it, and it was just kind of a striking image. And I said, let's use these types of images. And they said, well, is that going to work? And I said, well, we're going to partner it up with a couple other things, and we're going to talk about that today. But the first thing is always to find an image that is going to stop people in their tracks. And one of the things that I learned a long time ago, I had an art director at my first job, and his name was Tony Fickey, and he had what we call a swipe file, right? So it's basically all of these ads or all of these designs that you have liked in the past. So if you see an ad out there that you think, wow, that's a great ad, take a picture of it, use your phone, take a snapshot, take a screen grab or whatever on your computer, and hold on to those images. So the next time that you're going out there and you're building a campaign, you have this swipe file that you can go back into, look at the images, and say, that's where I want to go. The other thing that I say when it comes to visuals is scroll through Facebook, scroll through Instagram, scroll through any of them, and what stops you, right? What is stopping you as you're scrolling through it? What in that image set you apart? And I've been doing a lot of that this week on the imagery side, looking at different things and trying to see the contrast from what others are putting out there versus what we can do, right? So it can be something as simple as a color, an image, a border, whatever it may be. But that imagery that you put in there has to stand out. And that's what the first thing that I wanted to talk about today.
We are sitting here in the Strachan Van Til Studios in Hammond, Indiana, and it's on the campus of Purdue Northwest. But Strachan Van Til is, I think, a 21-store grocery store chain. They have completely upgraded their, their digital offerings and the ability to sell the food online and get it delivered to your house. But one of the big pushes in their stores is these ready-made meals. Mm-hmm. And you can go in there and you could just buy a piece of salmon and some rice and some broccoli inside a packet, and you could just bring it home and put it in the microwave, and you have a beautiful meal in however long the mic takes. Depends what kind of power you have on it. I notice in their feed, they're basically solving a problem at the time. It's just my wife and I now, we're kind of empty nesting it. And, I'm like, well, I don't want to cook a bunch of stuff tonight. And then they'll show the picture, hey, what about this? Mm-hmm. It's just using salmon. You can have this, you could buy, you could even get this delivered to your house and you could put it in your microwave. That is a pain point they have solved for me and for my wife. And I think that's got to be one of the other factors. What pain point are you solving?
Right. So that's what marketing does. We identify a pain point that people are dealing with, and we provide a product, a service to solve, create a solution. Something like that, right? So you're solving a pain point. I don't know what time you eat dinner, if it's 4:30 or if it's 10 o'clock, right?
6-ish, yeah.
Right. So at 6 o'clock. So with something like that, you're solving a pain point, and then you also have to look at the timing of it, right? So if you're running ads from, let's say, 2 o'clock to 6 o'clock or 2 o'clock to 7 o'clock every single day, that's hitting right at that time where you're starting to think about dinner for that night, right? So it doesn't matter if you're eating at 4:30 in the afternoon or you're eating at 10 o'clock at night, right? That, by putting the pain point at the right time, your message is hitting something that is striking them right at that moment. So pain points are great. Timing is great. When you partner those two up into an ad and you hit it at that, you set your ads to run at that specific time, you're hitting it perfectly at the right time when that pain point is hitting.
Speaking of time, we are here in the Midwest, and we're recording this in August of 2025. You may be well down the line before you hear this, because the principles of local marketing don't really change. But it has been exceedingly hot and really humid for 2 months, basically straight. And we're going into a weekend right now where they're talking about 100-degree temperatures. How do you look at that situation and work it into your social media?
I think your HVAC people should be paying attention, right? So we did this in the wintertime where I have a client that sells snowblowers. And we knew in 4 or 5 days there was a heavy snowstorm coming. So we launched that campaign 4 or 5 days earlier and said, hey, the snow is coming this weekend. We're expecting 6 inches of snow. We have inventory, limited inventory. Get in here. Let's get you prepared for this weekend. So it's that relevance to what is coming in the future. It's the same thing with the fact that it's supposed to be 90, 100 degrees this weekend. What is it? I was in Home Depot yesterday, and there are air conditioners lined up ready for this weekend. Why not, right? Like, that's what you need to look ahead and understand that things are about to happen. So if you are a small business and you're selling HVAC, set it up. I mean, get out there, let people know that this weekend is going to be hot, and it's going to continue to be hot because we're in the thick of August, right? So just look at the products and services that you provide and see if there's a way that you can head off something in the future by putting your ads in front of it. And you're probably going to see a pretty good increase in clicks just based off of that.
We run our main business anymore is a digital sports streaming network, and we do a lot of games now when the weather's nice and football starting and all that, and volleyball is indoors, and we do a lot of soccer. But in the winter, we do wrestling, some swimming, but mostly basketball. And a snowstorm is coming, or it's going to get really, really cold, and they're going to still try to play the games. We'll hit the social media that this game's going to be on TV, and you can watch it if you're not going to go out, because people will tend to stay home when here in the Chicago area it gets bad weather. And I hadn't really think about it, but it kind of fits into that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And let's move on. We got 4 more we're going to try to put in there, and I'll just put what you want to talk about, and I'll just let you explain this. But sometimes you just want to build on a feeling that's out there, but you first have to identify what exactly is going on. You want to build on a feeling. How do you start that process?
Yeah, so we're human beings, so we have a variety of feelings, a lot of things that go through on a daily basis. So, what we were just talking about with the 90 degrees, 100 degrees, that's urgency, right? So if your air conditioner is broken right now, there's some urgency there to get that fixed. The other flip side is, can you create some curiosity, something that's going on, right? There are all these different feelings that human beings experience, and you can play those into your advertising. A lot of clients that I sit down are just straightforward sells, and I always ask them what is the pain point that we're trying to solve, who is your customer, and what is the feeling that they're going through right now? Because if it's hunger, right? So you're talking about Strax and the prepared foods. It's hunger at 3:00. I don't want to go home and cook tonight, right? It's that urgency of getting something. In the time commitment that I have to when I get home. From the 100 degrees, it's the urgency of I do not want to sit there and sweat all weekend because my AC is broken or it's blowing out hot air. Maybe it's blowing semi-cold, whatever. So there are all these feelings that you're going through, and you have to identify what that target audience is going through. And it could be a variety of things. And we've touched on 2 examples today, but from a Facebook ad perspective, you have the ability to schedule timing. You have the ability to play on certain habits and behaviors and all these different things that you can schedule and build your target audience. We're going back to school right now, right? So the public schools are going back to school. So what is it? Did I forget to buy all the school supplies? Does my child need new shoes? All of these different things that are going on right now. Can we build that in, right? So again, think about what your consumer is going through. Think about it from their perspective, from their eyeballs, right? And go, what are they struggling with? What are they enjoying? All of these different emotions that they're going through, and build it into your campaigns, build it into your ads.
We're talking to Matt Hansen. We also record live on the radio here on AM 1230 and 104.7. We're on the campus of Purdue Northwest. And a major theme here over the 60-some podcasts is you're always trying to simplify things for the small and medium-sized business. Make it cheaper, buy cheap advertising, create awareness. We always go back to the sales funnel, awareness, consideration, close. But it's always, you have really given basically me as the host almost a separate marketing degree on top of the MBA. And if there's one thing I take out of it is that marketing of your small business is you just have to simplify things all the time. And I'm always talking to these guys, how are we simplifying? How are we simplifying? So when you're going to a Facebook ad, do you go out there and tell everybody all the stuff that you do and how great you are? Or do you try to maybe sometimes just pick one thing?
I think businesses often will just throw everything at the wall and see what sticks. And instead of focusing on one single offer or one single campaign that you're putting out there and perfecting it over the long haul, they throw it all out there and then they say, oh, nothing works, right? So I think from a consultant side of thing, I'm going to tell you, go out there and create an offer. Build the offer, build the landing page, build the entire funnel all the way through, and then start to tweak the funnel. What doesn't work? Okay, if I change one thing, let's say I change the image on this ad to a different image, same ad, just two different images. See which one does better. Okay, great. Now let's see if the headline, let's test the headline. Now let's see if we test the pricing. Let's see if we test the body copy of the ad, right? Let's test the landing page. Let's make a tweak here or there. And we've talked at ends about how you can tweak all of these different things through various episodes on this podcast. But focus on one single thing. Start with one single offer and then perfect that by testing a bunch of different things as you go. But always, always, always test one thing at a time, one offer at a time. And there's going to be people out there that will tell me, oh no, throw a bunch of different offers out there, see what sticks. That's great if you have huge budgets. I think a lot of people that listen probably don't have these huge budgets. They're not going to go out there and spend $10,000, $20,000 a month on Facebook ads. I mean, you're probably talking to people that are spending, maybe $50, $100, $500 a month on Facebook ads, hopefully, right? And you can't spread that thin. You've got to literally focus on one area.
You see a lot of this. A lot of people have been buying concert tickets. I was buying a camera lens the other day, and an older camera, and it was like, oh, we only have 2 left. Or you see when you're buying tickets for, I went up to see the Brewers play in Milwaukee, and it was like, 4 tickets left in this section. And that's on every website. That's Ticketmaster, that's SeatGeek, all of them, even the MLB site. That is it creates a feeling of I got to do it now. What can you do as a small to low, medium-sized business and create that same feeling?
Yeah, I mean, again, we're taking the emotion into the consumer, and we're trying to build that into our call to action, right? So if you're putting something out there, perfect example, I was working with a client a while back, and they had 7 spots that were open every single day. And once they filled, the ad came down, right? So literally, it was the ad would run for the day. It was 7 spots only today. Once they fill, and we were filling them in less than an hour, so the ad came down. So it was the urgency. Everyone kept asking, when's the ad? How do I get this? And we said, you just have to look for the ad. It's 7 spots every single day, and those spots filled up instantly. So it literally is a strong call to action. It's a sense of fear of missing out, right? The FOMO effect, and just put that out there and test those different things. So, don't lie. Don't say, oh, there's 7 spots and there's really 20, but, create some kind of sense of urgency in your call to action, and you're going to see some significant results.
It would be a Mastering Local Marketing podcast if we didn't somehow use the word AI in this podcast. So on the 7th way of looking at your ads on Facebook especially, we'll talk about other social media platforms, AI future with video. I mean, how do you integrate that?
Yeah, so Meta they've announced that by the end of this year, everything will be AI through the advertising platform. So they've given you a variety of tools to create movement and motion, right? So use that. So think of it as I'm scrolling through. It's not only the image that's going to capture the eye of the customer, but they actually have the ability to create some movement in your ad as well. So to take a static image and create movement. So think of that as you're scrolling and you've got all these static images that are sitting there that people aren't taking advantage of the AI movement and all these things that you can add to it. Click that button. It's a little check that you put in there, add some motion in there, and let them do that. And it just, obviously, as we go into 2026, you could take a static image and they're going to create AI video out of it as well. I mean, that's a whole nother discussion that we had, but create some kind of movement in it, as long as, even if it's just something as simple as taking an image, clicking that button that says move it a little bit, and it's just going to, it creates that movement that the human eye is going to go toward.
This is the 65th episode of Mastering Local Marketing. He's Matt Hansen. I'm Jim Deedlow, Jed. We talked about creating some scroll-stopping Facebook ads. 7 things that you got to think about. First of all, does it stop you? What's the pain point? The relevance. Also, you got build on a feeling or urgency, curiosity. Simplify it. Get one single focus. Of course, use the movement and the AI that Facebook has. And certainly, you got to have a call to action sometimes. 3 spots left. Better do it now. Matt Hansen, final comment.
Yeah, if anybody has any ideas for future episodes, please reach out to me at matt@masteringlocalmarketing.com. So that's matt@masteringlocalmarketing.com, and we will try to put that in the queue for a future episode.
Thanks a lot. Until next time, see you later.